back into your bodies, take a deep breath. Oxygen, physical form, back, back, back. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I love this center. This center is different. I know people come and say, this is like no other church that I've been to, and that's true. And then people come and say, this is like no other center for spiritual living that I've been to, and that's true. I love that we decide to walk our talk, that we're not talking about some airy-fairy metaphysics on the outside, pie in the sky, maybe someday, wooey-wooey stuff. We decide to live our lives the way we want to right here and right now. And I love that, because if we can't demonstrate this teaching, what good is it? What good is it? And so you know that for the last few weeks I've been on this happiness kick, that we have decided that we're just going to be happy. And how many of you are in the 100 Happy Day program? How are you liking it? Love it. It's great. It's fantastic. Every day, whether we put it on Facebook or whether we just acknowledge that we're happy, we get a chance to anchor in and focus on this idea that we are blessed, our lives are rich, we are happy right here and right now. And then in Monday night class, we've got 15 minutes of appreciation gone wild going on, where we take 15 minutes of spiritual practice and we just go off on something. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be as wonderful as my amazing husband. It can be as mundane as I love my Tempur-Pedic bed. Oh, how wonderful my Tempur-Pedic bed is. I love running water. Any of you who have not had running water is great. I love air conditioning, I love electricity, I love my dog, whatever it is. One day I just picked up the remote control and went off on the remote control for 15 minutes, thinking about all of the amazing things that are attached to a remote control. Little light beams that zoom through the air and they change the channel and do things that I used to have to get up and do, and all of the amazing technology in life, and all of it wrapped up in this little black plastic thing. Life is great. Life is great. Don't wait to win the lottery. Don't wait to have your soulmate show up. Have the greatness of life right now. Yes. But you know, there's a price to pay for being so happy. And maybe some of you have experienced that. We have one member of our center that was unfriended by 3 different people this week for being too happy. We have one person here who's getting a lot of flack from their friends because they're being so positive, and the friends are getting tired of it. And I marvel at what kind of a person do you have to be tired of hearing of someone's good. You get tired of seeing posts about how happy someone is. You've got to be really holding on to your limited experience. You got to be really holding on to the hardness and the struggle of life if you're doing that. And I'm not saying there isn't any exertion in life. You know, life has some struggle to it. If you want to suffer through it, that's totally your choice. But the thing that I like about this teaching is that it doesn't say we're just going to sit on the couch and chant the Om and everything is going to fall from the sky. We're going to bring it forth into form. We're going to create it. And this teaching does not say that there will not be any effort required on your part. For that matter, I say that science of mind is not for spiritual wusses. That this is something that asks a lot of you. It asks you to stand up. It asks you to speak your truth, no matter what's going on. It asks you to know the power and the presence in you, and that everything in life is simply a reflection of you. Take responsibility for it, do something about it, and create the life that you want to live. That's not for spiritual wusses. That's for people who say, I've got enough energy, I've got enough strength, I've got enough conviction, and I'm going to claim what is rightfully mine, the divine life I was born to live. I'm not going to settle for second best. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to turn around and pretend that things are going the way I want them to go when they're not. Now, this is where things get to be a bit of a fine line. And David, can you just lower those lights just a little bit? Because when we say turn away from the condition, we don't mean ignore the circumstances in your life. People say, well, Barbara, if I can treat that my gas gauge is always full, I don't ever need to put gas in my car again. And I would say, well, if you can't do that, good for you, and please let me know, because I don't know of anyone who can go through life without ever putting gas in their car. And the idea is that there would be something wrong with having to put gas in your car. What's wrong with putting gas in your car? What's wrong with getting up in the morning and saying, what is mine to do? What is mine to create? What is my life to live? And then moving forward and doing that. We don't wait for other people to do it for us. We know that we have within ourselves the ability to manifest our lives the way we want it, and we move forward and do it. In my life, I have gardened. I don't know if any of you are aware of the level at which I have gardened, but let me assure you that my propensity for doing things in a big way also extended itself to gardening. And so the last garden that I had was an acre. An acre. That's a big garden. And what I know about gardening is that come February, when I start to get that itch to order seeds, to get in the Seeds of Change catalog and find the perfect Cherokee purple tomato seeds that I want, that are heirloom seeds, and I want to be able to have them going early enough so that they can go out. I used to cut off the bottom of water jugs and milk jugs and put them over my tomato plants so that when it snowed they wouldn't freeze. That's how early I felt tomatoes needed to go out. But what I know about gardening is that if you're going to garden, you're going to have to expect to do some stuff. You're going to have to either plow or till or dig. You're going to have to dig up and out things that are in your way. They're not bad because they're in your way. If a rock is pushed up from the soil during the winter and you need to go out and dig it up and pick it up and move it, it's not a statement on your lack of consciousness that you didn't just awaken one spring morning to a perfectly planted garden, or better yet, that it's full-orbed into an autumn harvest. It's not a statement on your consciousness that you've got to go out and do some stuff in life. It's simply calling you to have your life the way you want it. If you don't want to garden, great. Farmers markets right down the road, West Asheville tailgate market happens, grocery stores are everywhere. You don't have to garden. You don't have to plant in your life. You don't have to go for the happy life. You don't have to challenge the people around you, saying, I'm going to experience the richness and the fullness of life, and I'm not going to stop until I have it. You don't have to. But if you want to get something more, if you want to have more out of life, then be prepared to do the work that is going to be required for you to create it. We happen to be focused in time and space. So what's wrong about things taking a certain amount of time and having to be manipulated in space? There's nothing wrong with that. But people have this idea that says, I'm a spiritual being now. I should be able to just call it forth, and there it will be. I don't know how to do that. I know how to create. I'm pretty good at that. Those of you who are in my classes, you know that I am good at creating. But I also believe that there's an activity that is required of us in the act of creating, and that's fine. Doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your consciousness. This idea that we can have a happy life, that we can have the best day ever, if something comes up that is not in alignment with happy life or the best day ever, then it's our option to look at that and say, do I want to have that, or is it time for me to get my metaphysical shovel out and dig it up and get rid of it? Because you know there's a reason that your life is the way that it is. The reason that you have the experiences that you have today are because you have had the thoughts, the feelings, and the beliefs that you had in the past. Now, you don't have to keep them. But sometimes those thoughts and feelings and belief come up simply for us to look at them and say, do I want to have that anymore? Just because you made a choice in the past doesn't mean you have to keep it today. And that's why I keep saying, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Or my favorite thought, my favorite phrase to people, that's just a real quick phrase, is think about it. Think about it. Whatever it is, think about it. And is it a thought that you want to live? Is it helping? Is this thought helping? And if it isn't, stop it. Stop thinking about it. If it's not a thought of happiness and joy and accomplishment and success, and yes, I can, and of course this can happen. It's going to be the best garden ever. We're going to have exactly what I want in it, and I'm going to have great experiences in that garden. If that's not your thought, if it's, oh my God, I'll never be able to do this, I'm in such overwhelm, everything is just out of my control, stop thinking that thought. You got to ask yourself regularly, is this thought helping? Is that thought helping? Or just laying down. Some people say, well, I'm spiritual now, so I can't take any action on my own behalf. That's not a good thought. Spirituality, what was that old transactional analysis label, dumb door, a doormat? Spirituality is not about being a doormat. It's not about laying down and simply letting whatever happens happen. Spirituality is about being clear and standing tall and directing your life and creating what you want. I get people in my office regularly who are in a spiritual quandary. And they come to me and they say, I have to go and get an attorney. And I feel really conflicted about that, because I think that as a spiritual being, I want to keep my heart open, I want to stay in love, I want to be clear, and I want to be able to do this without getting an attorney. Well, I ask, why do you not want an attorney? Is not God in the attorney? Is not God as the attorney? And if this person was going to come into alignment with all that you wanted, that'd be great. But if you have reason to see that that hasn't happened up until now, and their chances are not changing, it's okay to get an attorney. We have attorneys. We have attorneys, we have accountants, we have CPAs, we have all kinds of things. God is everywhere present. And if you want something in life, it's okay for you to go out and get it. Don't confuse spirituality with laying down and saying, well, whatever is, because whatever is the past. And when you decide you want to have a rich, full life, sometimes you got to go out there and work up a sweat. Sometimes you have to do things differently. Sometimes, God forbid, you have to say no. Oh, but we're the yes center. Barbara-ism, deep breath. Your yeses mean nothing if you cannot say no. Your yeses mean nothing if you cannot say no. Why? Because there are thoughts inside of you that have taken root and given rise, and they show up in your life, and you've got to look at them and say, no, that's not me. That was old Barbara. That was the old me that I let show up in my life. I made choices. I made experiences so that that would be my life then, but I'm not going to do that life now. I'm going to say no, and then I'm going to say yes to what I want. But sometimes to get to the yes, you got to say no. That's okay. We are not airy-fairy metaphysicians. We are powerful people, alive and well on planet Earth. We direct our experience with our thought, and my question to you is, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that this is good and this is bad? That's dangerous. Are you thinking that I'm a good spiritual being if I do this, and I'm a bad spiritual being if I do that? You know, oh my God, you eat meat? Oh my God, you eat gluten? Oh, jeez, you eat dairy? Yes. It's all God. It's either all God or none of it's God, and I go with it's all God. We don't sacrifice what we believe because it's a special occasion. Because we think that in order to be a good spiritual person, we have to be this way. One thing I love about the people at this center is we are varied. We are varied. We have people from one walk of life, we have people from another walk of life, and we are all one, and that is wonderful, that's great. Don't think that you have to change to be spiritual. You are already spiritual. My question to you is, are you willing to get up off the couch and go after the life that you want? Whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a solar-powered vehicle, I don't care. Are you ready to go after what you want? Because if you're ready to go after what you want, you can have it. If you sit there and think it's just going to happen, then I think you'll be sitting there for quite a while. What are you thinking? Do you think it's too hard? It's not. Do you think it's impossible? It's not. Do you think it'll never happen? That's not true. If you can think it, at some level it exists. And all you have to do is reach out and grab it. And sometimes in the reaching out and the grabbing it, you do things that your friends don't like. You're happy. You come to this center. You're healthy. You get much more money than you ever had. You know, money is attracted to things that are moving and changing and growing. Money is not attracted to something that just sits on a couch stagnant. Money is not attracted to an I can't mentality. Money is attracted to an I can mentality. So if you want to have the life that you want, if you want to have a full harvest come autumn, then you may need to do some digging today. The digging is symbolized on the outside, but the work is all done within. What are the thoughts that need to be dug up and gotten rid of? What do you need to say no to? What old ideas about who you are and how life works do you need to say no to so that you can say yes to that greater level of you, that greater you that is yet to come, waiting for you just to get on the bandwagon so you can grow into who you already are? I'm not going to support you in being lazy. I'm not going to do that. My job is to be a mover and a shaker. And sometimes I get behind you and I push you along. And sometimes people like that and sometimes they don't. Sometimes I look at you and go, I don't want to hear your sad tale of woe. I want to hear what you're grateful for. I want to hear what the blessings are in your life. I don't want to hear how you've done this 10 times. You haven't learned already from 10 times? It's time to learn. It's time to change. It's time to grow. It's time to do something different. And the way that we do it is we say, what am I thinking? What could I have been thinking to do that? And do I want to think that anymore? No. I choose to do whatever I need to do to dig the fields, to smooth the ground, to plant the seeds of the life that I will live. And then I will go out there and I will pull the weeds and I will nurture and I will fertilize and I will water and I will grow so that come autumn I have more than I know what to do with. People say, Barbara, how do I have more? And I say, you do more. You are more. You expand more. You think a better thought. You question what you've done up until now and see if you want to keep on doing it. I love this community because it's a place that we can come and be supported in who we truly are. Not our story, not the car that we drove up in, not the life that we've had until now, but the us that is yet to be and is at this very moment a magnificent, powerful, creative, spiritual being alive and well on planet Earth with everything in our reach. The only question is, what are you thinking? And is it helping? And if it isn't, think a new thought and get a new life, and so it is.